Welcome back to BatFacts. When we last left Robin, it was Tim Drake, arguably the quintessential Robin, one whose motivations are purely magnanimous and not based in revenge. But when Tim's family life forces him out of the role indefinitely, a young yet experienced vigilante jumped in to take his place, partially motivated by a different kind of revenge. Revenge against Tim Drake. And surprisingly, Batman went for it. And the rest, as they say, is a brief history. This episode of BatFacts, I'm continuing the Robins with a brief look at the brief but memorable tenure of the fourth Robin, otherwise known as Stephanie Brown. Stephanie Brown was introduced in 1992's Detective No. 647 as The Spoiler, created by Chuck Dixon and Tom Lyle. Stephanie is the daughter of the 1960s villain The Clue Master, and takes on her spoiler persona as a means of defeating her own villain father. As the Spoiler, she became an ally and eventual love interest to Tim Drake, the third Robin, and as a character, continually sought the approval of the Bat family. So how did Stephanie become the fourth Robin? Her first appearance as Robin came in a bizarre alternate universe story in Robin No. 101, part of a crossover with Young Justice. She's only seen briefly, but her costume was designed by artist Todd Knock, incorporating elements of the Spoiler, the Clue Master, and Robin into the design. Back in regular continuity, for the first time in the role of Robin, Tim Drake had a family and some semblance of a normal teenage life outside of crime fighting. Only sometimes a partner to Batman. He wasn't Bruce Wayne's ward like previous Robins, and lived with his own father, Jack Drake. But one downside of still living with your parent is,
Ma, the meatloaf!
If they find out about your side hustle, that you're secretly an acrobatic vigilante by night, they might have something to say about that. So, when Tim Drake's father found out about his dual life shenanigans, he put the kibosh on it. For the sake of his father, Tim transitioned back into a normal civilian life, and Batman was once again without a Robin. Soon after, when the Spoiler stops by Tim's high school for a surprise visit, she accidentally sees what looks like Tim with another woman. Feeling jilted by what she thought was a betrayal, and armed with the knowledge that he was no longer Robin, Stephanie focuses her energies elsewhere by sewing herself a homemade Robin costume in an attempt to stick it to Tim by becoming a better Robin in his absence than he ever was. With unclear motivations, Batman surprisingly and rather quickly agrees, and begins to train her as his new partner. When a baffled Alfred asks if this is a ploy to lure Tim back, tellingly, Batman doesn't answer. Stephanie's entire origin as Robin and costume debut was in Robin No. 126, the very next issue after Tim's quitting, with her costume and style designed by a new series artist Damion Scott. All told, Stephanie Brown was Robin for about 2 months in real-world time, and only 6 comic books. 3 issues of Robin from issue 126 to 128, and single issues of Detective, Batgirl, and Teen Titans released between May and July of 2004. Robin issue 128 saw her fired by Batman for insubordination. So why the incredibly brief tenure as Robin? Well, the very next issue, Robin No. 129, was a part of that summer's Lidewine crossover War Games. And in the planning of War Games, DC editorial had mandated that Stephanie Brown be killed. And this was firmly decided upon before there was any talk of her ever becoming Robin. In fact, to hear writer Bill Willingham tell it, it took some convincing to even let it happen at all. Robin editor Michael Wright was against the idea, fearing reader backlash to another dead Robin, so Willingham went to then Batman group editor Bob Schreck. Willingham recalled asking, "Can we give her one good moment in her life before we crush her like a bug?" And assuring, "I'll have her out of the costume before she dies." Dan DiDio, former DC publisher who has gone on record as saying Stephanie was, quote, never really a Robin in 2007, remembers it differently, claiming that he thought Stephanie's proposed death in War Games wasn't a big enough deal to readers. So I said, why don't we make her Robin for a short period of time, build some interest in her, and then we kill her, he told an NYCC crowd in 2012. Either way, after her firing, having returned to the role of Spoiler and in an effort to prove herself to Batman, Stephanie steals information from the Batcave and enacts one of Batman's contingency plans. Her plan goes horribly wrong, triggering a gang war across Gotham City, and she is captured and tortured by the Black Mask. She eventually escapes, but soon succumbs to her injuries at the hospital with Batman at her side. On her deathbed, she asked Batman, "Was any of it real? Was I ever really Robin?" To which Batman replies, "Of course you were." Despite this fallacious cover by artist Jock, Stephanie had been removed from the Robin role before her death, as required by DC Brass. So, while Stephanie didn't die as a Robin, it could be argued that she died as a result of being a Robin. To make Stephanie's death even stranger, it was later revealed that longtime Batman ally Dr. Leslie Tompkins actually let Stephanie die of her injuries, when she could have saved her, to send a message to Batman that he should no longer risk the lives of teenage sidekicks, exiling herself to Africa in the aftermath of her baffling display of medical malpractice. Stephanie's death proved more shocking and controversial to readers than DC had anticipated, as in her short run as Robin, Stephanie had garnered a loyal fan base. Many readers saw the actions of Batman and especially Leslie Tompkins to be way out of character, and Stephanie's death is often in the conversation regarding fridging in comic books, the practice of killing a female character simply to motivate or further a male character's story. But of course, this is comics, and Stephanie Brown didn't stay dead for too long, returning from her supposed death some 4 years later in 2008, clumsily retconning that her and Leslie Tompkins had faked her death and temporarily exiled themselves to Africa. Batman also takes this opportunity to answer a long-held fan question, saying that he was always suspicious of Stephanie's death, which is why in the interim 4 years, no memorial was ever erected in the Batcave. Stephanie's time as Robin was revisited for a small handful of stories in the years since, and she's usually but not always included in Robin group covers and the like, but Stephanie Brown would never return to the role of Robin. She remains in the DCU to this day, primarily in her identity as the Spoiler, but also the fourth version of Batgirl, and continues to be the only in-continuity female Robin. So that's a brief look at Stephanie Brown as Robin. Do you think she was a Robin? Why or why not? Sound off in the comments below. If you've watched this far, why not give the video a like? And subscribe if you'd like to see more. I'm on Instagram as BatFacts Videos, and make sure to check out the next episode, where I'm switching things up for a look at 5 of the craziest real-life stories in Batman history. Some Bat time, same Bat channel. Thanks for watching.